was... Hello?
You gonna let me in on this one?
You were in on...
I think that was just your mic.
My mic?
Yeah. Or it was me because I was singing, can we test it? Let's test it.
Can we test it? Let's test it. Here's the mic, and it's working, it's testing. Here's the mic, and it's working, it's testing. We also have not clapped.
No, girl. It's late. We got a late start tonight, so we're going to get a late clap on 1, 2, 3.
Hi, I'm Maggie.
And I'm Amanda.
And we're sisters in law. We're watching Suits one episode at a time.
It's a show so nice, I've watched it twice.
And a show so great, I'm watching it late.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
Maggie's never seen it and Amanda's obsessed. They don't wear fancy suits, they are casually dressed. They are sisters-in-law and they got a show about a law firm drama that aired a few years ago. Only Suits fans, only Suits fans. Only Suits fans, only Suits fans. Only Suits fans, only Suits fans.
This is season 1, episode 10, The Shelf Life.
Shelf life.
Shelf Life.
I need you to do your brief first, maybe, because I don't even know where they got that title.
The Shelf Life? Oh, because of shelf companies. But I don't mind briefing first, but you usually brief first.
Okay. Thank you. I just was like, the shelf life?
Yeah.
That's because the whole thing is about a shelf company, which I did not even put in my brief.
Then once you can improvise now or just read what you have. It's okay.
I will. No. See, here's the thing about my briefs is it's never about what the episode is about. It's about my feelings.
It's your feelings.
It's
That's
really
okay.
my journal.
And mine I just try to cram in a bunch of puns.
Yeah, which is why I appreciate it.
All right.
Okay. Episode 10 is 10 out of 10 for bringing the drama. First of all, there are some serious relationship flares, from Jenny and Mike being boyfriend and girlfriend to Lewis snagging a total babe, only to have both these love affairs put to the test with a kiss and a slap that, albeit predictable, still left me guffawing. Also, we see a mirror of Mike in the accountant Stan, who must be fired for lying about his CPA license, even though he is arguably the most qualified and talented numbers guy around. Harvey seems unbothered by this clear, direct comparison to his protege Mike. There's a lot to sift through, and this episode definitely leaves more loose ends to tie up or light on fire in the last 2 episodes of the season.
Yeah, that's good. I think that talks about what went on in the episode.
Yeah.
I mean, your feelings were in there. Prevalent, of course, but...
Of course, top and center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top and center.
Top and center, my feelings.
Is it front and center or is
Not
it top and center?
It's top and center.
Top
if
and
you
center.
If you say it like that, top and center.
Top and center.
Front and center.
Front and center.
Is,
top and center.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes. When Jessica learns the truth about Drybach, she tries to balk out of her client-accountant relationship with Tori, regardless of how many shelfies they may have under their belts. Jenny learns what it's like to be Mike while playing a new role at the Harvard Club to help Mike out, while Mike makes out with Rachel in the law library, which is against the law at Pearson-Hardman. Mike breaks the law when he breaks into opposing counsel's firm, and Harvey bails him out of security guard prison. Lewis spills a little drop of tea to Jenny about Mike and Rachel when it isn't even tea time.
Oh, I loved that so much. That was like a children's book about the episode.
It was very forced. Some of those puns were forced. Are you saying I should write a children's book?
About Suits?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Baby Suits.
Baby Suits.
New business idea.
There it is. Write it down.
So what's interesting about this episode, we were trying to decide which storyline to tackle, but really everything this is the most that they've all been woven together.
Yes.
The pilot, I think we take out of that equation.
Right.
It feels like it's hard to delineate because you're like, do we do 3? I'm like, I think it's just one big one.
It's one hunk of story.
It's a hunk of story, kind of a beeline, kind of a C line, but also not really.
It all just kind of flowed
Big
so
time.
well. It wasn't like we're hopping from one thing to another.
No,
they were
not,
very
no.
interwoven.
The formula, it threw me off because I have a formula that I take how I take notes based on, typically in Suits, my formula is whatever the opening scene is, like their cold open before we hear the theme song, that's the main storyline. So I'm like, okay, storyline 1, start taking notes. And then I prepare for storyline 2 coming in because they're going to pick back up, but then we'll cut to it. And it just never,
You can't.
it didn't happen for me on this one.
Can't.
You know what though? I appreciate them flipping the script.
Me too. It's important because we're in episode 10. So it's like, at this point, we got to be on our toes.
Yeah, it's kind of like an improv. Like you learn the rules, and then when you learn them, you break them.
You bend them.
And then you don't have a good show. Okay, so the opening scene of this, you're right. It was so well done. The banter back and forth. There's like 8 little jokes in there. So you texted me and said, do you know which part I laughed so hard at in the episode? And I said, I think I do. Is it this opening scene?
It is not this opening scene. It is not. Although
Okay,
I did chuckle. There's a part in this episode that I laughed out loud.
Oh, dang. I don't know if I LOL'd except for this opening scene. So I can't wait to get there.
Okay.
Because I was laughing at just like the back and forth. They're fighting about what to wear to a black tie.
Because Lewis is wearing gray.
And then they start talking about like champagne versus sparkling wine. Which region is it from? You're being a snob. And Harvey said, he goes, I'm not a snob. And Harvey says, you sound like Frasier's brother. Yeah. No, he's like, Niles Crane. And he starts like, don't talk bad about him. I mean, it's such a back and forth. He's calling him not, which is funny. And then he spots this beautiful woman from across the way. And then he says to Harvey, this is when I laughed. He goes, do I smell like sausage? And Harvey goes, not more than usual, which is so funny that we're just now finding out in episode 11 that Lewis has just a low hum of sausage scent.
Which fits. It fits. That's a
with
fun character
Professor
reveal.
Snape,
And
which
also-
because I'm re-listening to our
Yes.
episodes that Snape sausage.
Snape sausage he has.
Yeah.
And then he goes, it's pheromones and women find it irresistible. I love it.
I know, I just picture like a sausage ball you eat at a Christmas party.
I know. I was surprised at what a hound dog we find out Lewis Litt is.
Hound dog or horn dog?
Or sausage dog.
Sausage dog.
Yeah, corn dog.
Yeah, woof woof.
I mean, he's just going after this woman. And then Tori comes up to them, to Jessica and Harvey.
And they're going to not talk business, but then they do. So
Because they're friends.
They're friends. It's apparent that this isn't just a client, it's a friend. It's also their accounting firm.
Yes.
Which is crazy because they waived conflict. And so they said, you can represent us, but we're also going to be your account. Like, that is, talk about muddy waters.
It is so muddy. And I'm surprised that Jessica was like, yeah, this is good. She must really like Tori.
Yeah, I mean, she must.
And Tori's like, well, boy, howdy, do we have a problem. A trusted senior VP has a scandal.
Yes. Stan Jacobson. He lied on his resume. They found it on a background check. And he is not who he says he is. He is who he says he is. He did not finish school. He is not actually a CPA.
Yes.
And so this is problematic for a couple of reasons. One, it's against the law now. So he's been filing, he does the books for, they said, half of Wall Street. Like,
right. He's very good at it.
He's very good at it. The other problem is, so like he can get in trouble. He's breaking the law, right? If this comes out. The other thing is that Mike is feeling this. Like, talk about, you know, we say this now in 2024. Oh, I feel that, or I feel seen. That was not a saying back then, but that is totally what Mike is thinking. Like,
Absolutely.
I feel seen right now.
It's literally like a 1-to-1 comparison.
It is exactly that.
And Mike says that to Harvey, and Harvey's like, nah.
No, it's fine. And
Which I do not understand.
I don't either on this one. As much as I do love Harvey, I agree that it's really weird he kind of blows it off because Mike is now in his head, and you know where he's not going to be? Anywhere else. He's going to only be in his head about this because he's going to be comparing himself to Stan. Whatever happens to Stan is what he thinks is going to happen to him.
Right. And also because Harvey's just like, he broke the law. He's got to be fired. And Mike's like, you brought me in to break the law.
Right. So then they bring Stan in.
Well, first, they're
Yeah.
talking in the office, and Mike's talking about it with Harvey, and Jessica walks in.
Oh, yeah.
And because right as Mike says, what's going to happen when Jessica finds out or something?
And she says, find out what?
And then Harvey says that Mike's a virgin.
And she says, I'm not surprised. Or it doesn't surprise me. It's like, that's such a weird thing to be like, oh, yeah, I looked at this employee and decided that they weren't a virgin. Also, like, speaking from an HR perspective, huge HR violation.
Huge red flag.
The managing director be like, yeah, like both of these people talking about whether or not this person has had sex. Like,
Yes.
This is
Very inappropriate.
A little bit inappropriate. So then Stan comes in. He's so excited because he really wants to touch Harvey's balls.
Right.
Which is
His baseballs.
His baseballs, because he's a big baseball person and he can like read off the stats and everything. It's like, that's what I would be doing if I didn't, if I wasn't an
He has
accountant.
a photographic memory, which is also just like, hello, Mike Ross.
Yeah.
Hello.
His employer, they knew 5 years ago that he didn't have this degree, and now they're just bringing it to light. So they knew it, and this is a problem. And I highlighted this because we find out a little bit further into the episode that they get mad at Mike because Mike showed that background check
From 5 years earlier.
from 5 years earlier
Right.
to him. And they're like, you're not supposed to do that. That's a confidential record. At DCH, when we ran background checks, I always ask people beforehand, is there anything on the background check I need to know about before we run it?
Yeah, give them a chance.
Give them a chance to explain themselves, because sometimes there is.
Yep.
And people would explain it. They're like, here's the thing, or I moved a lot, or there was this, and yes, I had an MIP when I was 19, or whatever it was, right? And to me, you telling me when you have the chance to be honest says so much more about you than me having to ask you later.
Yes, absolutely.
And so it's interesting he didn't disclose that before. Okay. He just tried to lie and think it wasn't going to show up. It's also interesting that they held it for 5 years.
It's very interesting. And
It's more than interesting. It's scandalous.
It is scandalous. And I will say, too, Mike showed this document, this confidential document. He gets in trouble for it. Mike was trying to get out of the room. He kept trying to get water.
Oh, he so bad. He was
And
so
Harvey
thirsty.
was like,
he was
no.
literally thirsty.
He was so thirsty for an exit. And
Yes.
it's another time when this law firm does not let people get water.
No, they really don't.
People are always trying to go get water. And
People-
we don't have water.
It really
Sit down. We don't
like-
have any water
Yeah,
here.
it's not like the plumbing is cut off, but like, kind of.
It raises the temperature, brings the heat.
It does bring the heat. You're right. Water is a scarcity at Pearson Hardman.
And while he gets this background check, Stan says, I lied, but I'm not a scam artist, but I'm good with numbers. The same thing happened to Paula, we find out. We don't know who Paula is, but
Right.
they're definitely trying. Stan's like, they're hiding something. This is not, I'm not signing anything.
Yes.
They're hiding something.
Yes. And he says, like, Drybach, I guess, is doing business with Aberdeen, which is a management company.
Yes.
Okay.
Which we find out that management company happens to be like a surcharge on Pearson Hardman's bill.
And they can't track down what they do. Harvey wants to go look into it. Jessica's like, no, you can't do this. This is Tori. This is our client. It's my friend. And fun quote that I liked of his. He's like, I'll let you know what I don't find out after I don't look into it. So he's letting her know he's going to do it.
But in a very lawyerly way.
Yeah. And she lets him go because, like, on the record, that's what he says, but she knows what that means. So she actually, I think, is a little, thinking this is kind of sus.
Yeah.
Isn't that what the kids say?
Yeah, so sus.
So sus.
So sus.
Sus. It's also hard to say suspect. So I understand why they just say sus.
Sus.
Got to cut it down.
You know what? Harvey's got some real riz.
Yeah,
another
he
thing
does.
the kids say.
Some riz, like, for Curvis.
Yeah.
He's so cute. He does have riz. Oh my gosh. So then Harvey goes to see Judge Anthony Morrison. So, like, he's working on his side. And then now we got to also talk about Mike working it on the other side.
Yes.
So he goes to call in a favor. He's calling in a favor because Judge Anthony Morrison called in a favor for him. I mean, talk about Favorland.
This is Favorland.
All of Suits is like Favorland.
I did this for you. You do this for me. You owe me for that.
All
I owe
it
you
is
for this.
literally people turning around, scratching each other's backs. This was like a lot of back scratching.
The way you said backs, I thought you were going to say
Butts.
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 Scratching each other's butts.
Also, that would be a different show that probably wouldn't have lasted for so long.
You're right. It's easy. It's better to have a show about scratching backs than scratching butts.
Yeah, that'll be my children's
That'll be a note in the
Yeah.
Suits for Babies.
Yeah, Suits for Babies. The little baby Suits. He goes to find it. Tries to get a favor from him. They go back into his chambers. They find out Aberdeen Management Company, whatever this is, has filed for dissolution that day.
Yeah.
They literally that day, because people started digging and they got real smart.
They said,
People
we
started
gotta get
digging
rid
and
of
they
this
got rid of
shelf
these-
company.
Yes.
Because we learned what a shelf company is.
Yes.
Which is a company that's existed on a shelf, paying taxes,
It
looking
has
like
a
an
tax
established.
return. Yeah, like all of our shelf companies, the way we just sit them on a
Yeah,
shelf.
I file an LLC and then I just put it on a shelf.
Yeah. So
So that I can later commit
Yes, later commit
Fraud.
So it turns out he has this shelf company. They've been hiding their assets for 13 months in there. There are also 30 other 7 management companies that they have had at this point. Harvey's over here doing this investigative work behind the scenes. Then Mike has roped in Jenny, or Jenny actually kind of had the idea.
When we first see like Mike and Jenny in this episode, they are entangled, they're snuggling.
Yeah.
Things are moving so fast.
Yes.
Mike makes some tea for them. Then that's so romantic. She finds the Harvard Club invitation. She totally wants to go to the Harvard Club. She's into it. And then we see them later at the Harvard Club. Jenny is kind of like a little
Mike. Like she's like
a little more confident Mike. She's like,
let's do it.
Let's go.
And the way she gets him in, she's like, oh my gosh, did they do this to Harvey because he couldn't get in?
Right, he couldn't get into the Harvard Club because he didn't actually go to Harvard.
Yeah, fun fact.
And I guess the hacker who put him in the system could not get him into the Harvard Club. It's more exclusive than the actual Harvard alumni system.
Yes.
Jenny drops Harvey's name, gets him in, and then she has a little accent. She's running around. She's having the best time, like living a lie.
Yes. Yeah,
she's the only one who knows Mike's all of his secrets.
Right. She also talks to Lewis and Lewis's new lady, right? That he had found. Charisse, is that her name? Good call for writing that down. She talks to them as telling them that she works with monkeys and that monkeys are smarter than humans. I mean, just like, she's just like, hey, talk about a really good actor.
Commit to the bit.
Dude, she is committed.
One thing about Jenny, too, is she brings by Mike's suit earlier because Mike has to pull this all-nighter at the office trying to figure out what's going on with Stan. He's trying to figure all this out. Jenny goes, she has the suit, she's dressed for work, which I guess is wearing casual clothes with very high heels.
It was like a flowy tank and a tube skirt. And high heels.
And I didn't know what she was really dressed for.
Yeah, we don't know what Jenny does.
No, I don't know what she does. Mm-mm. But she did get stopped by security, which I was like, this is interesting that Jenny gets stopped by security, but in the episode before, Travis Tanner just walks right through.
Yeah.
Ironically, Jenny has to give the suit to Rachel, who then becomes the middleman in this relationship.
Yes.
Oof. Rachel's like,
she's jelly.
She's like, oh, your girlfriend gave this to you.
And he was like, she's not my girlfriend.
She's not my girlfriend. But in this scene before this, he was like, we're serious. We're committed.
Yes.
Michael, that is Michael behavior.
It is a little bit of Michael behavior. I think he's still Mike in this, but he does have some Michael behavior.
Very childish.
So they're at the Harvard Club.
Jenny steals the ID.
Jenny steals it.
So Jenny's like, you need to get into this law firm.
I'll swipe it.
I just took this person's ID card. You go in and you steal the records. And Mike's like, okay, sure. This was also, I was like, this doesn't feel like the right for Mike to make.
I was shocked he did it.
Once you're lied about one thing.
It's so easy, I guess.
So easy. So he goes, he's sneaking in, he sees all of the files. Right. He reads everything.
Yes.
He gets caught by security.
Yes.
Harvey has to come bail him out.
He comes to bail him out of security guard prison.
Security guard jail, and he tells the security guard that now the security guard owes him.
Yeah, he flips it on him because that security guard's like, I called you, I'm going to need this much money. He's like, let me just tell you right now. I've already looked into, he knew everything, that he was filing his taxes with his wife, but he wasn't living with her. The IRS could come after him. All of this stuff. He was like, look, let me tell you something. Here's some cash. You can make it to little Joey's Little League. If you want to make a donation, if it gets there, it does. If it does, it doesn't. But this is a cash donation to a Little League club.
Not to pay you off.
Not to pay you off. So then it's on Big Joe or Big Joey
to do what he needs
what's right, right?
Yes.
So like it's all on him. Harvey puts it on him. He's like, next time I come back, I'm coming to you for a favor. I mean, like Harvey
twisted so good.
And man, he always goes for those favors. It's Favorland.
He does. And I think here's the thing. Harvey does this and it goes so well. Mike, I've seen try a few times. Lewis tries to do it. It always falls flat when they do it. Harvey comes in, it's just like,
well, because Harvey always wins.
Effortless.
So Harvey wins.
Harvey always wins.
Also, Mike hasn't been around long enough to be able to call in favors.
Right.
So he needs to be doing favors for people. Like, that's how that works.
Right, that's true.
Build your well before you're thirsty, right?
And like, Lewis doesn't really do favors for people unless he's, like, very clear that you're going to owe me.
You should be always paying it forward.
Yes.
Without the intention of thinking that you're ever going to need it. Like, that's how I think you should operate as a human. I think attorneys might be different.
Yep.
That they're paying it forward knowing that they're going to be able to cash it in later. But that being said, like, Mike hasn't paid it forward enough to be able to get a favor. Like,
It's true.
he's not there yet.
It's true.
Come on, Mike.
Come on, Mike.
Okay, once we realize that there are 37 other companies that Drybach has done this to, we realize that Tori and Jessica aren't the besties that they thought they were, right? So they bring Stan in because he's lost his job, and they're going to now file a suit against Drybach.
So while Mike is looking at all these records, and before he gets arrested by security, he realizes that there is legal precedent, or like he realizes that they could totally nail them, but they need to get a subpoena to do it.
Yes.
They cannot get this subpoena.
So Mike has to, for memory, spout out every word off of all of those documents, and Rachel, clickety-clack-clack, types it all up.
Because this was Rachel's idea for Mike to do this.
Yes.
She was like, you don't need those documents. You just need to tell me what they said.
And let's type them up.
Which is interesting because Rachel helps Mike, in this case, actually solve the problem.
Yeah, she does.
But he wouldn't have had that unless Jenny had helped him get into a little trouble.
He's using both those ladies.
Both those ladies are helping him solve this case, but in their own ways, right? Rachel is typing so rapidly. Mike's doing all this. Then the camera angles of this next scene where like Rachel finishes typing. She stands up. It looks like Mike's right behind her. Then they do the over the shoulder of Mike, and it looks like they're just like inches away. It looks like they're so close. And then they do smooch.
They do. She comes because he's texting her. I played this back a couple of times. He was like very casually like, he's like, like listening. And then all of a sudden she's talking about how it's hard to date somebody who's a first year, or like find somebody, like it's just really hard to date unless you're in the same industry or whatever. She leans in and she kisses him. And I rewatched the kiss because he does kiss her back.
Of course he does.
Because it's just important to note.
He kisses her back, and it's right after he says, I'll make it work with Jenny. He's essentially saying, like, I'll make it work with Jenny.
And let you get a taste of
my
tongue.
Yeah, she like interrupts him talking about his girlfriend.
Little Markle makeout.
Markle makeout.
Markle makeout.
Rachel Razin. And guess who sees this?
None other
than recently heartbroken Lewis Litt.
Yeah.
Because
also, recently heartbroken, also always stirring up drama.
Always stirring up some stuff. Right before this, Lewis, this woman that he's madly in love with, Charisse, he's like talking about going on double dates with Charisse, Mike, and Jenny. He like loves this woman that he's just met, the woman of his dreams from the rooftop, is on security footage seen slapping him, and all the associates see it. Yeah. And he's made a mockery of, basically, in front of everyone. And this has just happened. Salt in the wound. He turns a corner. He sees two very good-looking people from the firm kissing, and he
getting it on.
I mean, getting a kiss, getting a smooch. And he's like, it's against company policy.
Yeah, which we had never heard that before. Sounds like something he would just make up.
We've heard Rachel say she can't date someone from the office, but...
Fair. That's fair. He leaves, right? Okay, after they've gone
totally
a smoochy smooch, right? And then Harvey and Jessica, soon after, this is when they are confronting Tori. They let her know, like, we know what's happening. They bring Stan in.
It's dramatic.
Stan is part of it now.
Stan comes from behind the door as a huge reveal to Tori to realize she done.
Yeah, and
she's
she was like,
cooked.
that when you invited me to go on a vacation to your new house in the Bahamas with the money you were stealing from my firm.
Oof.
So it does bring me to a question, or as we like to call deposition time. Tori was a very good friend of Jessica's. Have you ever had someone who is a really good friend of yours lie to you for a while? And did you catch them? And
lie to me for a while.
You don't have to say their name. I'm sure they're listening and then just real jealous of your success, but... Or just lie to you or do you wrong?
I mean...
Have you had like somebody that you are like, there's no way they would ever do me wrong, and then they did?
Yeah. Okay. There was this girl, this woman that I was friends with, and we were, in our 20s, and then she asked for help rehoming her dog, and I took it seriously, so I was like, I can do that for you. Let me let me make some ads. Let me do this. And then she was like, never mind. I just took them to DAS, the animal shelter. And it was like a pit mix. So I was like, no way this dog is gonna.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's awful.
I know.
I'm sorry.
It was real bad.
That is bad.
Yeah.
Golly. Dang.
It's a depressing question.
Yeah, it's a depressing question.
But you ask it in a deposition, you don't know what's going to come up, and
You don't
sometimes
know
it's
what's
going to be
gonna come
really
up.
upsetting things.
It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yes. I have had people.
Lie to you,
Yeah. People that you think there's no way they would ever lie to you or treat you that way.
and then they
Yeah.
do you dirty.
They do you dirty.
They think they're listening to the podcast,
It's possible.
and they don't even know.
They know.
Wouldn't it be funny though if someone's like listening and they're like, "What if that's me?" If you think that Amanda's talking about you, please send us a DM.
We would love
DM only States
Or-
fan and be like, "Oh dang!"
Or
I
just
think Amanda's
apologize.
talking.
Or just
I'm really
apologize.
sorry. Yeah, this
oops.
is good. This is a good way
This
to
is good.
increase
This might
social
be-
traffic.
Actually might be really
Yeah.
interesting to see if anybody comes forward.
If anyone thinks Amanda is mad at them, please message.
I also have another question for you. Well, do we have the resolution here?
No, we haven't resolved it yet.
Okay.
So a couple other things that happen. Stan is like, great, now I'm going to go back to work.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, dude,
you're
you
not.
can't. You don't have a CPA license. You can't do this ever again.
Take some money, figure out what you want to do with your life. So it's like, oh, woof. You know?
Yeah. And Mike says, your biggest asset is your mind. They can't take that from you. And
Yeah.
Stan kind of like looks at him like,
He's like, but actually, I needed a job.
like
So-
actually,
He's still financially compelled to work.
right.
Like, he
He's
has
like,
not won the
actually, like
lottery.
now I have this huge smear on my
Even
name.
a person who's good with numbers can't predict the lottery.
No, it's, well, aren't there ways to play it that you can win it?
The lottery?
If you buy like an X number,
You have the odds are better.
that's true, but you can't guarantee it.
No. Yes, you have the odds are better, but also you could win on one ticket.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't know that. Another thing that happens is like Jessica, remember, was so mad that Mike had revealed this confidential information.
Right.
And Harvey stands up for Mike.
He does.
And Jessica says, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt now.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay.
Where's that coming from, Jess?
Huh. Okay.
It's interesting. Plot twist.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's interesting that Harvey is like so stand up for Mike on a case that so mirrors what he is, the position that he has put Mike in. And I'm like, this feels like,
It does feel a little bit weird.
it feels super icky to me.
Harvey has a quote where he says, life is this, and I like this. Okay?
Right.
Meaning, like, he likes to operate at a different level. All right? Stick with me on this. Is there something in your life where, like, your life is like this, but you like this in this certain area? Like, everybody else is operating at this level, but on this one thing, you're operating up here.
So that's interesting how you and probably everyone who watches this show interpreted that. Because the way I interpreted that was like, life is level and I like a little excitement.
Yeah, that's what...
Okay.
Yeah,
And so
excitement and like, but he's operating on it's like a different frequency.
a different
up here.
frequency. But to me, it was like he's an agent of chaos because he's like, life is this, but I'm
agent
up
of
here.
chaos.
Because what he's done is he's got Mike. He's like a cat with a mouse. He's brought Mike into this who has no credentials, and that's exciting to Harvey. That's the game. That's what keeps this monotonous law firm job, making deals, blah, 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 blah. But what's exciting is he's got this little secret. And the little secret is that Mike Ross should not be an associate. And so he's like super excited, batting him around, and that gets his energy up. Well, because earlier in the episode, Harvey says to Mike, anyone, no matter how valuable, can be let go. You have to deal in facts, evidence, information that can hold up. That's what a real lawyer does. That's what Harvey tells Mike when he is like getting in trouble. So I'm just like, Harvey's basically like, anyone, it doesn't matter if you're really good, you can get let go. And he's just kind of like flying by the seam of his pants.
Seat of his pants?
Seam?
Seam. It's fly by the seat of your pants.
Is it seat of your pants? I thought it was the seam of your pants.
I'm willing to wager,
You want to make a bet?
which we'll talk about
It's
in a minute.
probably seat.
Yeah, I think it's fly by the seat of your pants.
If Maggie is right,
If you are listening and you're not mad at Maggie, would you please message us and let us know
if you're not mad at me, because I think you might be mad at me if you didn't message me about
That's
that.
fair. That's fair. Okay. Is there anything though, like where you're like operating?
Yeah,
as an
I
agent
used
of
to
chaos?
when I did operations. I did it for a while. I was like doing the same thing over and over again, like every couple months. And so then I'd eventually just like wait until the last minute to order lunch for like 100-something people, just because it made it a little more exciting.
Yeah.
To be like, I need this rushed, or like, oh, they can't do it. What am I gonna do?
You're
like,
paying so much more money or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. No, like you're trying to get it to be the same money for, you know what I mean? Like that's the rush. Mm-hmm.
There is a ton of paperwork involved in real estate.
Yeah.
I can't begin to tell you how much happens that the client doesn't see. Yes, they're signing a bunch of stuff and everything, but like we behind the scenes,
it all.
we are doing a lot. We have like these portals where you have to upload all this stuff. If anything's wrong, you've got to resend it to a client. I mean, like it's the stuff that I hate.
Yes.
And I know that I hate it. And there are agents out there, the minute they get something under contract and it goes from like option to pending, they're in there, boom, 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 and it's getting done. And you know what I'm doing? I'm getting messages from my sales manager that says, you have a closing in 3 days.
Get it up there.
Do you like to submit 40 documents? And I'm like, oh.
But you also operate on you are a Harvey. You operate
Yes, I do.
on a higher frequency.
My ceiling fan's always on high.
Yes. Yeah. And I sometimes like to turn my ceiling fan off.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, you know what?
Let's
I
do
want
it.
like one of those swamp fans.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I like to either be like, there's no wind, or like,
Or it's like,
we're in a hurricane.
Yeah.
Another thing that happens.
Yes.
Jenny comes in to the office. Lewis sees her, and he's basically like, watch out for Rachel. And she's like, what do you
are you talking
mean?
about? Yeah.
And Lewis says, you know animal behavior, because she said that.
Of the monkeys. That she works with monkeys. And also they've been spending all those late nights together.
Right. And honestly, this
Man,
is...
that's a dick move.
Okay, I said this is probably coming from a bad place, but honestly, Lewis is doing Jenny a solid on this.
Okay, I hear you.
Like, I think Lewis didn't do it to try and do Jenny a solid. I think he did it to get back at Mike for being dismissive of him, being a little jealous.
No, I didn't think
but
about it that
like,
way. Okay.
Jenny should know. Jenny should know. And Lewis wasn't mean to Jenny about it. He was just kind of like, hey, watch out. He wasn't like, ooh, let me like give you all the dirt. He was just kind of like, hey, be alert.
Yeah.
So I honestly was like, good for you, Lewis.
All right. I'll let you have that one.
Okay.
I have another question for this deposition time. This episode is called Shelf Life.
Yes.
Is there something in your kitchen or in your house that has been on the shelf well beyond the time it should be there, and you know it's there?
Oh, yeah. Every shelf in my house.
Needs to be cleaned off or cleaned out?
I did the other, like, I guess though it was probably like a year ago. I was feeling super overwhelmed. The house was really messy as it gets. And I was like, you know what I need to do? Clean my spice drawer. And I cleaned my entire spice cabinet. Mm-hmm. That was something I did. But now it's time to do that again.
Yeah.
The thing about shelves is you have to constantly be cleaning them.
You need to do what I do with the shelves, with the spices.
We put them in a drawer.
I have the spice drawer.
But I don't have a drawer.
You don't have a drawer?
I don't have an open drawer.
We could find you a drawer. We could reorganize some stuff. I
really don't have a drawer, Amanda. I really have no drawers.
I could help you. You know what? I've been watching a lot of like DIY videos. I could help you install a drawer underneath one of your cabinets. Like
Underneath my cabinets?
Like, you know how you have your cabinets, and we could install a drawer that pulls out. And
this is you operating up here though, and I'm operating.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Yeah, Siri. That's literally what people say about me all the time. Let me help you get your spices organized and labeled, and I'll install a drawer for you.
Okay, great. That's wonderful.
Literally what I like to do.
Fabulous. I love it.
I have something in my kitchen.
What is it?
It is one bag, unopened, of pancake mix from Dell's Comedy.
Which closed 4 years ago.
Closed. I brought that home in March of 2020. Yeah. So we're coming up on 4 years ago.
Of that pancake mix.
What's
it's
interesting
unopened,
is
though?
it's unopened.
Yeah, probably okay.
I think it's fine. I actually have used some of the other bags in the past.
It's good pancake mix.
We had great pancakes at DCH. And so it's like a little bit nostalgic, but it's also like, how long can I hang on to this bag? I also have a box, and it's an old box from Chili's, the restaurant. Like,
Did you work at Chili's?
No, I had friends. It was super cool to work there in college. This box I've had since I was in college. Okay. And I don't know what's in it. And it is full of just like probably pictures and random stuff. And it's been like taped, and I have moved it. And I've lived in a hell of a lot of places.
You have. Since I've known you.
Since you've known me. But I think that this box was when I was like 19 or 20. So it is 20-something years old, so which means it's vintage, because after something's 20 years old, it becomes vintage. Mm-hmm. So this box is vintage. I don't know what's in it. It literally moves with me everywhere I go.
When are you gonna open it?
I don't know.
Is it 20 years?
It's over 20 years old.
We should do like a 25th anniversary of the box unboxing.
I could do a live unboxing if we ever have like a Patreon.
Yes.
I could do that.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
I'm so.
What if it's embarrassing?
It could be really embarrassing.
Oh my God.
So that's why I'm
what
like,
if it's
we need
pancake mix?
It might be pancake mix. We need people paying into a Patreon before I open that
Yeah,
box
this has
in front
got
of
to be.
people.
Yeah. I love that.
Ding dang dong.
Ding dang dong. You didn't talk about the thing that made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, what was it?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, two things. I did laugh. No, this isn't even it. I'm not going to say it. But Rachel does this double take at Mike when he takes his shirt off to get his suit on.
Oh, yeah.
But that didn't make me laugh out loud. The very next scene, Lewis is in his office.
Okay.
And Mike comes in, and Lewis is like, I was with the most beautiful woman last night. He's trying to have this male bonding moment. Behind Lewis is a picture in a picture frame. Do you know what's in that picture frame?
It's a picture of Lewis.
It's a picture of Lewis
Yes.
crossing his arms. Then a camera pans to a picture on his desk. And what's in the picture frame?
It's also a picture of Lewis.
Also crossing his arms. I died. This is my first time seeing that.
That's okay. That makes sense.
Does this come up later? Or is this just like a known thing in the Suits universe?
Do you want me to answer that?
Does it come up later?
This is not the last time you're going to see a picture
Of Lewis
in his office.
It's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh. I was dying.
That's so funny. I probably like might have chuckled or something and laughed at it the first time, but now that I've seen this so many
This is
times,
just so par for the
yeah.
course of his character. But it's funny because like Harvey has baseballs. Harvey has records. Lewis has photos of himself. I also wrote in this, something I would love to see is just a compilation of Lewis looking sad as people leave him.
Oh.
Because like he busts up this Rachel Mike kiss, and then they walk away and he's just standing alone in the dark room of the library. And then pretty much every episode that Lewis is in, at some point, it's just going to be a shot of him alone
I bet we could pull that together.
and sad.
It's also interesting that you're observing that just in season 1.
Because this is so good. It's just going to be
good.
so many more pictures of Lewis by himself, and then also shots of Lewis just alone by himself. Ah, I love it.
One time, Kyle, my brother, your husband, the reasons we are sisters
In
in
law.
law, was at my apartment for some reason. I don't know why he opened up the bedside table. Not the bedside table that I use, but like the other one that was just there for looks. Because in that top drawer were, do you know this story? No. There were like 200 headshots, okay? And they were from every time I've had a headshot.
Of you.
So it was like every look I've had since I got
Yes.
to be an extra on Prison Break and thought I had to go out and get headshots and like was like, I'm going to now be an actor. So it was like this whole iteration of all of these looks, which by the way, don't change
No,
that much.
it's the same.
It's the same. And the
Just
first
different color
headshot,
shirts.
to be fair, I was wearing a blazer and I still have that blazer in that headshot. So Kyle, my brother, your husband, takes these headshots and he puts at least 30 of them on my ceiling fan blades. And he turns off the lights and the fan. Like, so he had it wasn't so like the light was on and the fan was off. Like everything was off. So if I came in, I would turn on the light. Then the fan was set to come on high. But then he like texted me. He was like, thanks for letting me stop by or use your apartment or whatever he needed to do. I walked in to my bedroom and after a very late night, turned that on and 30 pictures of me flew out. All
Smack
over
in the face with yourself.
It was literally, and it was like every memory of like headshot of like all
Booked it.
didn't book it, didn't book that, never booked that, you know, like just all of these reminders. Also that I had so many because I hadn't gone out on enough auditions. They were all over the place, and then he had one on my pillow.
Just one
right
under the bed.
where I was sleeping anyways.
Oh, this was recent?
Oh yeah, y'all were married.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So,
Oh, I love it.
but it also makes me think of the time that you got that LED face mask.
Yes.
And you sent me a video. You're like, Kyle's coming in and I'm going to film this.
Yeah, this is one of those like full face masks
It's
that looks
red.
like
Yeah.
looks like Three Ninjas face mask.
Yes.
And then I had the red light underneath it. And I was like, this is so funny. I was like crying, laughing, thinking about him coming into the house
And
in
being
the dark.
scared to death.
And just being like, oh my gosh, he's going to have the biggest, wildest reaction. So I'm filming myself giggling.
Yes.
And he just walks in.
And kind of was like, hey, like, oh, that's just my wife in a big scary mask that looks like something from Halloween.
I know!
He was not even phased.
I guess you can't prank the prankster.
You can't prank the prankster. Well, I sent you that video of me with my new teeth whitening thing.
We're really into LEDs on our face right now.
So I ordered this. This is not sponsored by Snow, but it could be.
Use code ONLYSUITSFANS for free
For free shipping. So I finally get it. Does not disappoint. There's all of the stuff comes with it. All these like different strips and everything. But you plug in this LED mouthpiece and it has like 4 different little types of ports. So you plug it into like your phone. So you can sit on your phone and that's where it's charging.
Oh.
And so when I sent you that video, I was walking and it was plugged into my phone. I was like walking down the hall.
But it's so big.
And my mouth, I can like literally stick my fist in my mouth.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is that weird? I literally have the biggest
This
mouth.
is supposed to be a clean...
I have
Sorry, it's not.
such a huge
I
mouth.
do have such a huge mouth. Oh, wait. I have a fun fact.
Oh.
This is the first time that Mike doesn't use a BlackBerry. He uses an iPhone. Bada bing.
All in season 1. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah, because that was one of the first things I noticed in season 1, episode 1.
Oh, yeah, we talk about
was
it.
that they were using Blackberries. I was like, this is
Because we were trying to also find a correlation between like marijuana dealers and
Blackberries,
Yeah.
briefcases, all of this.
First time he uses an iPhone is in
Interesting.
this episode.
He's upgraded. Okay, Mike.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I see you. I see you getting an iPhone. Okay.
And
I know some predictions.
yeah, because we only have 2 more episodes. And so you're going to have 1 more episode to make predictions before
Before I figure it out.
they do the bonus episode. And then there's the big reveal during the season finale. Because we're also going to watch the season finale episode together.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I'm thinking. The way this ends with the Lewis telling Jenny thing, there's going to be this love triangle. There's some blowout happening.
Okay.
And I think
by the end of the season 1. All these are now predictions
by the end of season 1. And
Okay.
there's 2 ways I see this happening. One is Jenny gets jealous, calls Trevor back.
Okay.
Okay, something with that because they're going to be playing with each other like that.
Okay.
Then maybe Mike gets jealous and does a full-on hookup with Rachel.
Okay.
So there's something. Jenny's mad. Mike is mad. They can't. Their communication wires are crossed. There's Trevor's back, Rachel's back, a bunch of banging.
Okay.
Okay. Mike is 100% going to get caught. And what the heck is Harvey going to do? I don't know if this can happen in season 1 because this goes on for how many seasons? 12?
9.
9 seasons?
Yeah.
This episode, though, is like he's going to get caught because you cannot have a parallel thing, have Harvey being like, you're not going to get caught. I've been thinking this the whole time. I'm thinking like Lewis is going to catch him. Something is going to happen.
Okay.
But then I'm like, what's going to happen when Mike gets caught? Like, is Harvey going to have Mike's back? When Jessica walked in and they were like talking about it, does Jessica know that? Like, is she in on it?
She's not in on it yet.
Because the way she was just she could have heard what Mike's saying and she's like, what are we talking about? Oh, you're a virgin? Okay, whatever. That was suspect to me. And like, it seems like Harvey and Jessica talk about everything. So I'm like, what's going on if they get rid of Stan for so quickly breaking the rules, but then Harvey's broken the rules? Does Harvey get in trouble? If she finds out about this Mike business, would she be mad at Harvey, or does she like always have Harvey's back no matter what? Does Harvey always have Mike's back no matter what?
Is somebody gonna rat somebody out?
But even if someone rats someone out, who would you rat? If like it feels like dominoes. Like
It's totally
if
dominoes.
Mike falls, so does Harvey fall, so does maybe Jessica fall, or like who's gonna stand up and be like, nah, this is on you, this is on you, this is on you, and is like Mike the ultimate fall guy, or is Harvey the ultimate fall guy? I don't know. I'm going to predict also that Grammy is dead every single episode until she's seen again.
Okay.
So I think she's dead.
Okay. Well, yeah, we haven't seen her in a while, and I appreciate you coming back because you did say you were walking at one point. If she
I
didn't
think it
come
was
back,
like if she wasn't coming back in episode 6, and
episode 6,
now
yeah,
I've stuck
and then she
around.
did. That was it was a while.
But
back.
I don't care if I have to go 9 seasons saying Grammy has died. If I never see that woman again, I will continue to bring up her name because somebody has to. Mike has clearly forgotten.
I appreciate you honoring her memory.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. These are some really great predictions. So next week is 11. And then we're going to do the bonus episode, which is going to all be like a quick recap, but also a lot about your predictions and some fun treats for you. So
we have a couple shout outs. One is I did message my father, who is an attorney.
Yes.
Because the wager.
Father's attorney. Grandfather was an attorney.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm basically an attorney.
Yeah.
But our discussion about wagers versus bets, I was just like, gosh, I just don't know if we got it.
No, we just
really doubled down on
We doubled down
lipstick.
on little lipstick, and we sounded real stupid talking about the logistics of a bet or a wager because we just got hung up on the name
Maybe it
little
was
lipstick.
like when I was listening to it, I was like, dang, it sounded so smart when we were saying
And we literally, if anybody was listening, they're like, they literally don't have any idea what they're talking about.
Yes, I was like, I gotta ask my dad.
'Kay.
So I asked him, what's the difference between a wager and a bet? Mm-hmm. And he said he thinks it's a distinction without difference,
Which I love that.
which I think is great. He
That's
said it was
something I wanna
curious
say.
that they made such a big deal about it in the show because
distinction with that difference.
And he sent me an article, and it was like a wager is just a more polite, gentleman way of saying a bet.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're going to go bet on little lipstick.
Because you wouldn't normally say, like when you say want to bet, you wouldn't say want to wager.
Right.
Right?
Right. But you might be like, want to bet? And then someone would be like, yeah, let's make a wager. Let's wager.
Let's wager.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill, for that.
Thanks, Bill. Also, my mother.
Okay, let's hear what your mother had to say.
This could be you. Even if you're not my family, you could still be shouted out.
Yeah.
My mom commented on Spotify because
Oh.
you can comment on Spotify, and in our last episode, I mentioned chalking my ID, and my mom said, "Chalking your ID. Remember, your mom listens to this podcast," and I have not forgotten because my mother is the one who told me what a dime bag is. So I just want to
remind you that
remind you.
our friend Jessica said that she loves listening to it and that she's really enjoyed the podcast, which I didn't know. So it's like when people tell you, you don't know if they're listening or not. Like we're seeing all these
so
downloads.
nice.
We're like, who are the people?
Right, and then you like assume it's some people, and then they're like, I was
Then you're
like,
like,
I
I don't know,
assumed like Kyle, like my husband, your brother was listening, and then he's not.
No, because he's trying to catch up on the
He's
show.
trying to catch up on the show,
Which he will.
Right.
So anyway, so when people message us and they say, like I'm listening or I love it, I'm obsessed, we're like, oh, that's so good to hear.
It's so good to hear.
We did get a new review.
We did. This one made me LOL from Steven. Thank you, Amanda and Maggie, for doing this podcast because I probably would have never watched Suits. Wow. To think I totally missed out on this from 2011 to 2019 is crazy. Thankfully, we have streaming services because after I found out about the podcast, I watched the first few episodes to follow along with you all. Unfortunately for streaming services, I am a victim of, just one more episode-itis. I could not stop and binged all 9 seasons in the month of January. Love the show, and I'm really loving the podcast. Steven finished before I did.
Steven finished before you did. He finished faster than I did the first time because I did it in 7 weeks. He watched the entire series in the month of January. We texted about it the other night when he was about to watch the last few episodes. He's like, I've got 2 left. I don't want it to end. I was like, pour yourself a glass of wine, sit down, enjoy it. He was like, I'm sad it's over. Like you were sad that it was over. He's like, but now I get to rewatch and follow along with
the
podcasts.
podcast.
So
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, you can be like Steven, binge it in 1 month
Or one episode
or
at a time.
week. Like if you need to do that, that's also fine.
Yeah.
You could do it like Maggie, and that's like the way I eat vegetables, like 1 time a week. Or you could binge it like the way I eat handfuls of chocolate chips recently.
Handfuls.
Not
That's another
hands.
thing that I thought you were about to say hams.
Hams. Ate hams every day. I had to have chocolate. I'd have chocolate chips, just tiny little baby hams, little.
You can eat it like vegetables, or you can eat it like I eat.
Ham. Hams in my hand.
My brain's filling on.
You're flying by the seam of your pants.
I'm flying by the seam of my pants with these hams and butts.
Thanks so much for listening in, and we'll see you next time. I don't think we'll see him. So, what did we say? How do you end a podcast?
Could I try?
Yeah, would you please?
Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. And until then, follow us on @SoLySuitsFans.
Man, you were doing smooth.
And then I fucked
you,
it up.
Yeah, you fucked it up.
Okay.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. And in the meantime, make sure to like and subscribe anywhere that you get your podcast. We would love a 5-star review, and we'd like you to say something nice about us. If you're thinking about saying something mean, eat it.
That's it. I think that's it. I think we end it like that every week now.
Every week.